so there's also, wait a minute.
I am starting the recording.
Oh, good. So this, that's somebody, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we have Gian and Japa Saraswati. Good. Okay, come together. Palms together. Heart breath. And begin. Om Gurudev Om
Jagat Kare Name, Sat Kare Name, Sri Gurudev Name, Sat Kare Name, Jagat Kare Name, Sat Kare Name, Sri Gurudev Name, Sat Kare Name, Jagat Kare Name, Sat Kare Name, Sri Gurudev
Shri Gurudev Namaha. And heart breath. So happy to see all of you. And okay, this is the situation for Baba Siri Chand. This is it for the connection. What is the connection between everyday self and soul self? In other words, how can you put them together more and more often? Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. And begin meditation for 3 minutes. And inhale. And inhale. Exhale. And continue. Okay. How about Gian Sprung? Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Okay. I have wait a minute. Let me just let um, Japa Saraswati, and I have just sent you an email for the survival kit manual and also a link for donation for 3HO. Okay, did you happen to just get it?
Yes, I did. Do you want me to post it on maybe the information with the meditation that we were talking about it in?
Yes, is there a way to put it?
Yes, there is. I
Not
can do that. It will take me a little bit of time. I won't be able to do that immediately, but I can
do it later.
Yes.
And it wouldn't be just for one day. Is there a way to put it there for all the time?
You mean to have it up with the link of the meditation? Like what I would do is I would put it in the description box of the meditation so that anytime somebody clicks on the meditation, they could also see the link. And then if I were to get really savvy with it, what I would do is edit the video to make a little asterisk saying, link in the description box. But I'm not sure I'm that fancy yet, but I'm gonna get there.
Okay, great. You're going.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Gyandas Prem Singh, how are you?
Good, Waheguru.
Good. Okay.
So for me, with the soul self and the original self or the everyday self, um, so for myself, for my everyday self, I think I like to view it as an ever-changing thing but I think that it's something that is it what we're running from or is it what we're here to face? So there are certain things that are left on ourself that are our noticing or our protective device. But I think also at a time of if we notice this like or this dislike that we have, if we look at ourselves and we say, what do I like? What enhances myself in this life that I'm seeing? And that's sort of reflecting onto the soul self. They're sort of as we progress, they're one thing and the same, I think, but they're also like the parts that make up us, like the water and the elements and whatnot. So the cohesion between those two, I think, and noticing that. So for Baba Siri Chand, it can be sort of like this is this and this is this, right? Say your magic self and you're beyond your magic self, or how you fare to bring it. And then, it's for me, it's just always right back to the breath, right? Of that noticing of what's real and what's not real. But I think if we notice our everyday self is part of this that we are doing in this human race, and noticing that that we are part of that we're here for a reason, that we came from this, and that there's a progression within that everyday self that sort of matches the soul. I think that we can come into that becoming the best version of ourselves, meeting our soul in a sense of part of that energy that we're here with. And Baba Siri Chand, he has a way for me from looking at that statue and being able to come to that point of sitting on my spine and noticing, where my body is and whatnot. The discomfort of sitting still was was for so long a discomfort that now when I learn to breathe into those parts of my body that I can relax that. And that I think is in itself a form, right, of when we go back to the basic elements of what we're made of and how we bring those things together and we create this energy, the vapors. The first thing what came to me was a smell, and some of the smell was of discomfort, and then noticing what it takes to make those smells that I'm smelling. So it's now we are dealing with flowers and pollen. I'm in North America, so there's a lot of things moving in the air and energy moving in the air. Yeah. So and that can be part of all that in between the soul self, and it's really a big thing. But I think when we step into the light, when we notice that stillness, that we can have a little bit of that reflection, shining down on us. So it can be brought forth in the everyday self through the practice of showing, ourselves to soul. Because when we look at our DNA with the science that we have, and looking at the earth and the age and understanding the age, and then noticing that the age is actually on our DNA, that we have sites within sites, right? So when we close our eyes and look inside of our body, but now we have the science to prove it because we have devices that are showing us what a healing cell looks like, what those little bubbles look like, further into epigenetics, and then coming back to the elements that we're made of, and that we're all here together as, and that we is the billions of billions, which soar back to that invisible space of that Waheguru with, yeah. And Baba Siri Chand is there for an example for me, like Jesus, like, some of my Native Americans, and the others further to the south, Three Feathers, they all sort of look the same, but, they just left a simple message. And Mataji, we all came, so where we came from, and then that back to the shift of returning to the motherly, and the picking up of the body and the holding of the body, be it of the size of a baby, be it of the size of my mother, who may weigh more than me, that I'm caring for that body at that end of life in the circle, inhale upon and exhale when we leave. So, and then noticing that in the simplicity of my everyday self in the breath, right, of that circle of life, and then returning to that simplicity of the Baba Siri Chand and his ability to be a teacher from with outside of my body, from just these elements that are sort of speaking through the we that is imprinted on our DNA for that communication and that vibration. Waheguru, and thank you, Baba Siri Chand. Waheguru.
That
Yeah.
was good. That was a
And then
lot.
we can remain in the light, right? We can, because we'll be back there at some point. So, yeah. Waheguru,
All
blessed
right.
us in the heart. Yeah.
Mhm. Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this opportunity. Waheguru.
Okay. Sahesh.
Good morning, everybody. Before you even finished asking the question, I saw this image of a brain, like, the cutaway version, like half, and uh, I was hearing like the brain stem. Okay, everyday self. That's the brain stem. That's the kind of aspect of our brain that like can do the most fundamental basic things, like instinctual things. Like if you're super tired or distracted and you're driving and all of a sudden you're home, you don't remember how the heck did I get home? Well, because like your reptile brain was driving, was making sure you were safe enough and doing these repetitive things that you do all the time. So I'm seeing that, okay, this is like our everyday self, and the soul aspect of our being, or however we're saying that, is like, then I just see the rest of the brain and all of like the remarkable things that the brain is capable of, and how we as humans haven't even begun to discover most of what we're capable of with our whole brain. And, the brain, the rest of the brain contains the pineal gland and all of these things that we know as people who meditate can bring us into this transcendent state where we're fully integrated, that operating system of the rudimentary operating system of the brainstem is part and parcel of this whole magnificent thing. That I don't even want to say connects us to, because we're already connected to it, but our sense through our everyday self is that we're sort of separate and that we're having to chug through life by ourselves, uh, that we have to make all the decisions ourselves. We have to figure everything out, when in fact we have this whole magnificent brain, this whole magnificent system that's capable of knowing without chugging through the operation of figuring out. I'm not sure how well that's translating, but that's how I'm seeing it. Like that we always have all of these functions. I'm just going to use the brain analogy all the way through. We always have the full function of all of the capacities of our brain. We don't always remember that, and we don't always use it. And sometimes, depending on what's happening in our lives, especially if we're have unhealed trauma, or we'll just use that for example, things that happen in our daily life can trigger us into that, like reptile brain state where we're just in survival mode, and those are the only capacities that we use. So it's just a practice. I mean, that's why we practice meditation, so that we remember that we have those capacities and we access those capacities, so that next time we're maybe in a triggered state and our instinct is to go into that place and act out of instinctual survival, perhaps we'll remember to use our breath. And then as we use our breath, that will bring us into a calmer state, and it will give us access to the higher capacities of our brain, higher, lower, I don't know, to the expanded capacities of our brain, to help us see the full picture, and remind us that of what we are capable and what we have access to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's, I think, yeah, that's the best I think I could do with that. That was just the image that I had.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I was also telling you about the brainstem, or about things like breath, make your hearts work, and things like that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Those are the automatic functions of the body.
And
Yeah.
also on that brainstem is something called pons, P-O-N-S,
Oh yeah.
which is where the breath coordinates with breath. And so what you're talking about is using with what you would call, excuse me, what did you call that? That, what is that little salamander thing? What did you call it?
The reptile brain?
Yes,
Is that what you mean? Yeah.
in the reptile thing. But what you're using that breath to control, or the for the soul self. Is that right? Would you say that would?
Yeah. That using like to go to use conscious control of our breath to get us out of kind of the emergency state or the survival state is kind of where I was going with that. I don't know if I was using it correctly using the brainstem, but that was the first image that I saw.
Mm-hmm. But keep it going. How about that? Not just for emergency. How can you do that all the time? You use your breath, and then that isn't that where the connection between your
Yes. Yeah,
okay,
that's it. Yeah, that's it. Because the automatic function of breathing is there in the brainstem, right? That's
right?
what regulates the automatic thing. And when we bring consciousness to it, then we can actually shift that heart rate as well. So those things are being regulated,
That's
but we can consciously regulate them.
mm-hmm.
And so that's as I say, as we practice our meditation, as we practice our breath work, that encodes the pattern in us so that when we get into states where we're just operating on instincts,
You got it. And so that is let's see. Oh, that means to connection, or how do you put it together? What do you call that?
integration.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so that would happen even during everyday self. How about that? To
Right.
change our heart breath. How about that? Isn't that cool?
Yes. That's perfect. Yep. It was so surprising to me that you had not even finished answering the question. All of a sudden it's like brainstem and I see this image and I was like, okay, I'll follow that. That was kind of quick.
Right.
Great. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you. So it means to be, what was that number, the number word again that you just, integration. So
Integration, integrated. Yeah.
so you were talking about the breath for the soul self brings together with the everyday self and the what you were calling the reptile.
Reptile brain. Yeah.
Yeah. And wouldn't that be amazing? Then we wouldn't have to be upset by so crazy things. Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's so cool that if you hadn't, I thought I had the picture, but it's you brought the integration of my understanding of it. Like if you hadn't brought in those specific functions of the brainstem, I wouldn't have seen the picture so clearly. Like that's breath is the point of integration, is what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the breath. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That
Okay.
is amazing.
So we're just going to make it normal to be heart breath normal. And that would be our integration, don't you think?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm writing a sticker to put on my door right now. Breath is the point of integration.
yes. And put that and then put another one on your t-shirt on your
Yeah.
heart.
And then put heart breath, like hashtag heart breath underneath.
That's right. Oh, okay. That was fun. Thank you. Thank you for everybody. Yeah. Okay, so Japa Saraswati.
Satnam, I just loved that explanation from Sahaj because it's along the lines of, well, the first thing I got was about there's a I can't quote the whole thing, but in the Guru he refers to the body as a horse quite often, or that's one of the ways. And I found it so touching in a horse like a vehicle, you know, the thing that travels us from here to there, and also like a horse like a little bit of a companion, but also a little bit of a beast of burden. And that's the way I felt everyday self is the self that gets caught up in the everyday chores, like I have to put gas in the car, and you know I have to do the it's almost the monkey mind of having to do all of the everyday self activities. And I found the soul self to be um, that that essential self that is being carried on the horse, you know. And when I think about my own practice and cardio, doing cardio, and um, being at that place in my asana practice to engage ujjayi breath is like to yoke it to me it's like to yoke the body and the
Meeting, but
soul in
um,
one. Oh,
just take it into the living room and
What?
I just muted Sash. There was background noise. But she can unmute if she wants to. Um, but so what I was saying was about the when you're right there, when you're using Ujjayi breath really thoroughly, really in a balanced way, I mean to say, it's this yoking for me the um of the body, of the everyday self with the soul. And it's kind of like this, for me it feels like that, of them working in unison. It's like an ox team of them pulling together. And when you do it and you're really like doing it, it creates also sometimes some tapas, which is like the heat. I find that really, um, for me, when I'm burning really clean through the Ujjayi breath, my central channel becomes almost like a chimney to burn, like tapas burn right up. It's really amazing. And and I just feel like it's exactly what you said, that the breath is the entry point for that. Like it's the place where that process begins. And that was kind of my message, I think.
Say it again.
I think that was my message.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Good. Okay. Now, now that you all know what's happening, both of you, not all of you, so, okay, so now how can you be on first of all with everyday self, like put the fuel on your car and blah 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 on the one side, and how at the same time how can you be that breath for heart
I
self?
know. I know how. So the word yoga.
No, it has at the same time. Can you
Both
do
at the
that?
same time?
Yeah, how
Yeah.
do you do
So
that?
the word yoga means to yoke, and it comes from yug, but it means to yoke. And to me, the image that Baba keeps on showing me is like almost like an ox yoke, that the two of these things, when they are yoked together through the breath, they have this union and they're working in harmony together. Do you see that?
Hmm.
Does anybody else have another site that they can share? Because I don't want that to be the only one. But that's just what Bubba keeps showing to me.
Oh, well, that's good. Okay.
Mhm.
Then we're also going to ask that with Guru Gian Das Prem. Can you
For me, it's the mind-body connection that comes through chanting, I think, and the healing that comes through that, like through the breath, like the challenge of that and the emotions that come with it, the ability to process. The remembering was what really, when Sahaj said remembering, it was like, wow. It was the way she said it in the pattern that she said it that was, it's discovery sometimes can be remembering, but we may not notice it. So I think in that noticing, there's this magic that happens in our body when we vibrate, that sensation of the om or the ong or the ah or the ma, or however we come into that, that emotional state of breath of fire turns into happy, it cries, it laughs. And I think within that we have that, and then you have all of these things that will come out of through your toxins, through, out you'll be putting a lot of mucus on the ground when you learn how to sing and how to become part of that vibration. And I think it's a celebration, that simple celebration of life, and the mind body connection sort of being that soul meeting the everyday self, and a point of release or celebration. And then it comes back to the breath of the practicing of that. We start slow, right? We notice that we're breathing, and then we try to enhance our breathing, and it comes through our voice, and then we can find ways that we're working with ourselves and others together. Yeah. So that yoke of that, and then the stillness of that, but also the yoke as a tool makes it easier for us to pull along, the weight that we're tilling the field, or we're, bringing that oxen, that's sacred, right? So the animal is sacred, and then we're working together with that. It's so beautiful, that and Waheguru, and then, into the truth of our breathing, that's really the most truth that we're giving, I think, in the from the birth, and then back to the Ma, right? So yeah, and Waheguru.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what you were talking about was vibration. So even while you were putting your fuel in your car, then maybe you are talking about continual mantra. What do you think? That's vibration.
Well, yeah, in noticing that and noticing the breath, and then so when I sit with heart breath, it's amazing how I can just feel my heart beating like a drum.
Mhm.
It
Good.
took me a while. I think I've been doing this, I don't know, for some years, and then it just seems to be with the group and with the practice, and with the everyday practice and controlling the outflow of prana and apana, of being that in that discovery point of where the heart and the brain sort of meet. Yeah. And then that's where discovery comes from, right? Where the numbers come from, where the words come from, where the creation of my vibration comes out into my song that I sing, that the words will come to me through remembering the parts of, and noticing too, of that, the energy that we're here dealing with through the inhale and the exhale. Yeah. Of that progression of that cycle. Yeah. And the simplicity of it. And then pretty much, we can open ourselves up to that coming into the light, right? So why go to,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, Japa Saraswati, can you remember about it? There's really a word that means for continual mantra. Do you remember what that is?
Is it japa?
Japa.
Yes.
Okay. That's
I'll
wonderful.
take Japa for 500.
Japa Mane, yeah, Satanam.
Oh, that's so funny.
That woke me up in my dream, yeah. That's the song I need to learn.
That's so,
So, yeah, that's a good one.
yeah. Okay, so Hej, did you want to talk about that, about feeling, connecting, what happens between EDS and soul at the same time? Was there anything else?
I don't think so. I feel fairly content with the breath
Yeah,
is the point of integration and that heart breath is the tool.
yeah.
It's like the so simple, like the jitterbug. It plumb evaded me, as Jimmy Buffett would say.
Oh,
It's
good.
that thing that we have to continuously bring ourselves back to. It's not a complex notion, but we make our lives very complex. And so this is, to me, this is a beautiful distillation and remembering.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Okay. And what's the other for breath? What do you call that?
Is it prana?
Let's,
Were we were talking about breath as the point of integration, or
yeah, oftentimes we'll call it a breath for um, yoga exercise. What is,
pranayama? Or
yeah,
is that what you're after? Okay.
that's it. Prana,
Yeah.
japa, and pranayama. There you go.
Okay.
Oh,
Sticker number 2. Hang on,
yes,
I've got somebody here. I gotta go out.
yes.
I keep on having a little image come through my head from the first meditation, and Baba asking about everyday self and soul self. And I watched a documentary about Haiti the other day, and it's worse than ever. But I used to live there, and one of the big things that I did was that I fed the kids out the back door. And when I look back at that time, I really feel that it was soul work. And when I saw that vehicle, I had the image of myself driving. I had a truck, a little red pickup truck that I would drive back and forth full of bananas to feed people in the back of the truck. And I felt that union of that soul work and the vehicle of everyday self, and it just keeps it's an image that keeps coming to me as I'm praying for the people of Haiti.
Oh my goodness. Okay. That sounds great.
Hmm. Well, I feel it in 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 other ways too, like when I did the garden project here. I just really have a big feeling for feeding people. That's like part of my family lineage, I guess. And then like there's a guy online that I feel like I could emulate with his to help the garden feed people. It's kind of, I feel like that's part of my soul path,
Mhm.
um that's coming together, though it's not all for right now, but I'm maybe I'm speaking it into existence by saying it today.
Mhm. Okay, good. Now I wanted to ask you about Gian Prem. He was talking about the body, about the celebration or that feeling of the body. So I was just wondering about, then there's the third eye, Then there's the chakra for the heart. And is that a better name for that? To put it all together?
I don't understand the question. Is there a better name for all of those chakras put together? Or
Yes.
they,
Can,
oh,
when you do heart breath, you can feel that from your heart chakra. Also, when you do meditation, you
mm-hmm,
you when you say you project through the third eye,
mm-hmm.
and there's an actual feeling. Do you understand? There's an
Yeah.
what do you
Does
call
anybody else know the word for it? I don't know the word for it. Or I'll think about it. I'll meditate about it.
it? Okay, I'm just calling feeling. What do you call that? Feeling subtle energy in the breath.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling.
It's the astral body and also the nervous system. For me, I experience it as the nervous system, and like I I've been thinking about this one time that I went to go see a holy man speak, and when we got to it was in an old converted YMCA, and everybody's all in there ahead of time. And when we were sitting down and lining up, I could feel everybody's like ancestors it had come to, and that they had all come, and I recognized that it was this man's electromagnetic field like lining up to us way in advance before he even came into the room. His electromagnetic field had been making contact with this room full of people, and it was so subtle and magnificent at the same time that it was really touching that all of these ancestors would want to come and be a part of this and be all aligned for that. That was really clearly soul work, but the reason that guy could do that was because of his nervous system and because of his electromagnetic field, that he was able to even like influence and send it ahead of him, send his energy ahead of him like that.
You know what? When
Mm,
um, I was in Los Angeles, and he would come. Yogi Bhajan would come about 2 times per week, and
mm-hmm,
thing would do that, and it would take
mm,
a long time. We would just wait and wait and wait. But what was happening was that subtle magnetic energy was
mm-hmm,
bigger and bigger and bigger.
mm-hmm,
Amazing.
mm-hmm.
Okay. I wish I had some better words for all of that. Maybe you already said it. Maybe
Maybe you already said it.
it again?
Maybe you already said it.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, let's see. We'll call that aura. Okay. Oh, so we can do that. And you know what? I have found that if you constantly are with soul self, if you are about that, then other people can actually feel you from
Mm-hmm.
these from that other person, and they'll ever say that, they will say, oh, oh, that was nice, or you can
Mm-hmm.
feel that, or something. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a vibration.
That's
Back
it.
to the beaming, yeah. Like from the pineal gland, right? Which can produce DMT, right?
And the EMT.
DMT, it's is what is it? It's actually one of the drugs that's made in the body, but they use it as a drug as well. It's like a um dimethyl. It was popular back in the day, and it actually opens your third eye. So that's sort of like that
Great.
plugging into the video machine in a sense, which can happen,
No, I
right?
remember.
It's by dreaming, or for myself, I've experienced it by during my trauma when I broke my neck and another time, but also by laying down and listening to specific music, the circadian rhythm, right? And then the rhythm and of our breathing in our brain, and then the erasing of the subconscious, which allows our mind to open. And it's normally seen when we have our eyes closed, and it's sort of seems from the forehead or in the forehead, right? Where we see something, and it's like plugging into a movie. And within the breath, we do have that ability to go into that practice, which with the right tones and with the right timing, it will happen
And do
with the
you,
practice.
yeah, and when when uh for the people who were musicians, then they would I, finally I listened for, but somebody else told me about that. Then why does Yogi Bhajan is very knowing about the musicians, what's happening? And there's another word, it's called fifth, five scale
Oh
musician.
yeah, the pentonic. Is it the pentonic scale?
He would
Um,
always use that. He would always say, that's what I want.
hmm,
You called it pentonic?
is it the pen? Yeah. For me, music. For me is the manometer, the half a circle, the how the hand goes, and then it times, and then we go by the timing, and then the rhythm, and then the vibration, and then the flow, and then within the being of that, yeah, which the vibration is there for us to hold and to be with. So I think we do all have that musical ability within us, right? If we're speaking and making sounds that are coming out to somebody else,
Right.
that the understanding or the back communication or the receiving of that is allowed to happen, and then we all have that ability to be within that vibration. So yeah. And then of course, once again, back to releasing the claims to Waheguru and remaining in that infinite now, which can allow us to be in that noticing that this form that we're in, and keeping that breath, right? Of the trying to notice that breath, because we will be challenged. Yeah. And breath of fire is yeah, we can cry with that, or we can laugh with that stillness of that, right? Or
Mhm.
we can just, we can do that by breathing through our nose. We're able to get all the toxins out. And if we do that daily, we can come through life with, I think, very little allergies.
Mhm.
Seems to be the truth for me. Yeah. And that's simple, right? So remaining in that simplicity too. And
Okay. Saying,
somehow we come bigger, and we just grow out of our body, and then can we witness ourselves from outside of our body, as the witnessing, and being with that full complete circle. Why good. Thank you.
oh, do
Thank you,
you,
Baba Siri Chand.
yes, and do you remember I'm talking about the music for the chanting is what I'm talking about. So that would be the pentonic. Is that right?
Pentatonic,
Can you feel
Is it
that? Can you
the
hear?
pentatonic scale.
pentatonic? Yes. Okay. Thank
I'm
you.
a musician, so I don't quite understand what's being said. So I'm asking each of you, for instance, when you use the music that we have for chanting for the mantra, can you remember that? Is it think of what the chant was being.
Satanama. Satanama I do every day, and I find that that's like sort of, that's almost like a circle, like speaking in a circle, right? Knowledge, wisdom, vitality, communication, sun,
Satnamji,
moon.
I don't think you're waiting for the question.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
At least if that's the case, I missed it.
Okay, so what was one of the musical chanting? Do you remember that?
I do. For me personally, from my experience, my breakthrough or my,
No, just think of that. Maybe I was anyway. But anyway, I think that you all have done wonderful things, don't you think? To make the connection between EDS and soul self during together, don't you think? Isn't that wonderful for you all
Yeah.
together?
That feels very clear to me. Yes, thank you.
Good.
that's in the yoke. That just came together.
That's it. You got
My
it.
guru, my guru.
Right. That's your yoga. That's it. Love you all. Good. Okay, so now maybe Sahej, can you lead us for our song?
Sure. Okay. Taking a breath and letting it go. And inhale to begin.
Okay.
May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on.
Inhale.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa.
Hey,
Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
God bless you all. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Yes. Oh,
Thank
can I
you.
tell you guys something? Are we done recording?
I'll turn